Appreciate that. All right, we ready? Okay, great to see everybody again. And, it's just been 2 days. First 2 days, kind of acclimatization period. It's helmets, and then they just wear these little rubber spiders over their shoulders. But really the focus is more on the teaching and fundamentals and how we do what we do, and just really able to take a lot of time and a little bit extra time in individual with their position coaches, and then, a lot of install, obviously with the two new coordinators. But, everywhere across the country is excited first 2 days because it's the first time you can go practice in 4 months. I haven't met many coaches that, aren't, excited to get back out there. But just kind of my evaluation, I always take pride in trying to just be honest with our guys. And when I see good, I try to tell them that. And whenever I see stuff that's not good, I tell them that as well. It's kind of like Coach Shoup in there talking to the defense, and he kind of tells the guys when he's showing the video from the previous day's practice, hey, I'm just up here reporting the news. All I'm doing is telling you what I saw and what goes on. And, really a couple things from my evaluation first 2 days. It's very obvious that our guys worked extremely hard in the off season. I think the 7 weeks of winter workouts, AJ Artis and our strength staff, and really the players buying into that, we just look better and bigger, faster, stronger than I can remember. And really, I'm proud. I know everybody's, it's natural for people to get excited and ask questions about the new guys that come, which I understand that. But I'm really proud of the returning guys and guys like Rashawn Yates that finished number 3, top 3 out of 112 guys in our grit score rankings from off-season winter workouts. That's a great sign. Guys like Greer and Boyles and guys, Michaela Point, that have really, been here. They've been here through the tough times and have really pushed extremely hard. But that would be one observation. The second thing, I think, just overall, the focused intensity, work ethic, mindset, attitude. There's just a little bit more of a maturity kind of factor there, which obviously you would hope and expect when you have as many guys coming back as we do. But, many times in the first 2 years, it's kind of like what I told the players this morning before practice, coming from a place that was, very well aligned in how you do things the right way and how you win. And, you may get asked, what does it look like? And, it's hard to kind of describe everything accurately. But bottom line, when you see it, you recognize it, right? And that's what I would say the first 2 days. Some of the things that I see that I'm standing out there and we're doing good on good at the end of practice, and I look on the sidelines of our defense, and every single player is standing up there, their toes on the line, watching and pointing and communicating. And I watch the offense, and every kid's up there pointing, and everybody's engaged. And just kind of maybe first 2 years, you look over there and you got guys over there having a little pity party, and they got their backs to the field, and they're just kind of like, this is my time just to kind of relax. Those are the things that you see. One moment I'll share with you that really stood out to me in our first practice on Tuesday. It was in Pascal, and we threw the ball to Joe, one of the new wide receivers, and he caught a hitch, and then immediately somebody tagged him, but I didn't blow the whistle, and and he just kind of stopped, and immediately Jaron Mangum runs over there and makes him turn and run for 15 yards burst, and I just kind of watched that, and I'm like, yes. That's what it looks like right there. When your returning guys are telling the new guys here, hey, this is how we practice. This is the standard. Those are the signs that you look for as a coach when you're trying to see that improvement. So really a lot of good signs there. Then I think it's been really seamless process with both new coordinators. Coach Trickett and Coach Shoup have done a great job. We were able to have 3 weeks of meetings, 2 hours a week, leading up to this past week at the start of spring ball. And, the guys are confident, I believe, in our plan and the guys coordinating the offense and defense. And they've done a really good job, so I'm excited to see. But, what I just told them after practice, hey, good job, good start, right? And, it's kind of fun, a lot of parallels I can draw to our indoor facility that's going up over there. And I said, hey, everybody look over here at the indoor. Man, everybody excited about that? Everybody know kind of what that's going to look like? And, man, we're all excited, right? So what would happen if today was the last day they worked on it? What if all the workers went home and they didn't touch it again? Would that help us? just a mud pit with a bunch of steel around it. It's not going to stop any rain. Well, guess what? That's the same way with our team. We've got off to a good start, but if we just stop the work now, and guess what? When's that indoor going to be ready? August. When's our team need to be ready? August, right? And I come in about 6:30 in the morning, and I always drive down the little road right there by the indoor, and you see all the workers getting here, right? And they got their hard hat on, they got their little lunch pail, and they're going to work. And that day, they just may be working on, just lining up these 3 beams, getting those. That's all they're doing that day. And the next day, they got another little thing. All they're doing is that the next day. And then big picture-wise, show up in August, we're going to walk into a immaculate indoor facility. That's the same analogy for our team. Every day you show up and do your job. And if we keep our head down, focused on the right things, then we're going to be really pleased with the end product that we're going to see when the season starts. So a lot of good things there, but then the final message is, hey, that's 2 days, shorts and helmets, that's over. We put on the pads Saturday for the first time, and because of our schedule leading up where next week is our last week before spring break, we actually will practice Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday next week. So we're actually going to have 3 padded practices in 4 days, counting Saturday and then Monday, Tuesday. So that'll kind of be the next step, adding the physicality piece to it. But I'm pretty confident they're going to step up and continue moving forward. So, pleased with a good start, but, definitely got a lot of work to do. But it's fun going out there watching practice. I mean, it's one of the first times where they're disappointed when you blow the whistle and say you got to stop. They're like running out in the field wanting to go another 5 or 10 minutes. And so there's a lot of good signs early on, and it'll be our job to be sure we stay focused and locked in throughout the whole spring. So only other thing, I'll make a couple comments on some of the guys injury-wise. We had a lot of guys that maybe had some surgeries right after the season. And K1 Powell's a guy that got hurt in fall camp last year with a ruptured patella tendon, and he's been coming back nicely. He's going to do a lot of individual work and a little bit of team separate work, but nothing really full speed versus the defense. Definitely not the first half of spring ball. Dustin Hall is coming back from a hip surgery, and again, he's able to do some stuff in individual. Darian Grant is in that modified group with an ACL. He's worked extremely hard. He'll be able to do some individual work, but probably not good on good. Will Jones coming back from the ACL, same thing. He's able to do some individual work. Daquan Evans had a little work on his knee, a little meniscus, and he's limited right now. Latrell Williams coming back from ACL. He looks really good, running routes. And again, all these guys can kind of do the first half of practice, and then whenever we go good on good, then they kind of have to step aside and watch. But really good progress. Davon Hicks had shoulder surgery in the offseason. He's kind of in that modified group. Brad Cecil, who you'll get to hear from here in a minute, had shoulder surgery in the offseason as well. He's able to go out there and snap in some situations and do about half of the practice. And then Andrew Stokes, our punter, had ACL surgery also. So he's limited a little bit this spring, as well as Mac Harris with a shoulder, and then Matt Gresham, our long snapper, had a shoulder. So all those guys are, the good news is we don't have anybody out that cannot do anything. All those guys are kind of in that modified group, and we expect them all to be full speed, full go by the summer. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
With no starter, no quarterback, how are you handling it? Does every quarterback get an equal number of snaps? Does Kevin get the most number?
Yeah, so right now, and again, I know I was ready for that question last time. You weren't here. You're here this time. So here's the deal. Timmy and Trey Marsh are both getting reps with the ones. I'm not going to say it's 50-50. Timmy was our starter last year and, did a lot of good things. Obviously, freshman quarterback. There's a lot of prices to be paid for experience and all that. And Timmy's had a really good spring so far, first 2 days, and Trey's done a good job as well. I mean, it's not really a situation where we're saying there's not a starter. We start practice, somebody's got to go out there with the first group. But the point is, especially Timmy being a freshman, first-year kid, you're not guaranteed the starting job. And this is not directly on Timmy because he's worked hard, but you can't just go out there and say, hey, I'm the guy, I'm good. Every guy, Brad Cecil being our starting center, everybody needs to feel that sense of urgency that your job is to prove that you're the best person for this job every single day. Just like my job as the head coach here is to prove to Michael Kelly and our leadership that I'm the best person for this job every single day. And if we can all have that attitude and mindset working forward, then it creates that sense of urgency that you need. And I think what I'm excited about is we have the most depth that we've had since I've been here. So there's a lot of competition. And I've told our coaches, hey, don't be afraid to promote and demote within practice. Hey, you had a bad job, bad series. Hey, next time you go with the ones, all right? Move the guy. That's how you keep guys on the edge and keep them striving. So it's not some deal where we're, keeping tallies and as a coach talking about the quarterback situation. We'll let it all continue to develop. But Trey is getting, and Byram's kind of, just new, getting here, doing a good job. He's getting all the reps for the threes. But I wouldn't say it's even reps between Trey and Timmy, but they are both getting reps with the ones.
Yeah, will you name a quarterback at the end of spring training, or will you wait until the fall?
Okay. I'm not going to release a depth chart to our players or to anybody until 10 minutes before the game against BYU. Probably the week of BYU. But, yeah, and I talked about this. I think it's a really valid point. Number one, the first message to your guys is there's never a point where you become the guy and you're good for the game. You could be good, and then all of a sudden the week of the game have an awful practice and the other guy's going in. And then, so number one, I want all the guys working, and because the summer counts, fall camp counts, all that counts. And then, like we've said before, in this age of the transfer portal, the worst thing you can do as a coach is go out and name your depth chart and let every player and parent be able to see and say, oh, well, I'm out of here. So I think you got to you got to recruit well, then you got to develop the guys well, and now you've recruited well, you've developed well, now you got to retain your guys, so figure out the best way to do it. But if you asked our guys today who our starting quarterback is, they'll tell you it's Timmy McClain, but we're not putting a depth chart up for everybody to see it. So, and honestly, that's the way it was at Clemson. When Deshaun Watson and Trevor were there, yeah, everybody knew they were, but Coach Sweeney never put out a depth chart. You know what he told them? Hey, every day, your job's on the line. And you know what? Those guys came out there, they knew every day, if I don't come to practice, this guy can beat me out. There's no lifetime contracts. And so I think overall, that's kind of the attitude and mindset that we want to have. But it is a different situation than it was a year ago where, we're really trying to find who's going to separate themselves. I think we have a pretty good idea at a lot of positions who that's going to be there, but it's not guaranteed, and it really serves no purpose to put out a depth chart and for them, or anybody. Ultimately it matters whenever we play. We got to give it to the TV and radio and everybody to be able to go see. It's a lot more fun working through that depth chart and looking at it when you have a lot more bodies and capable guys.
I understand what you're saying about transfer, but if there are guys on this team that aren't going to stay if they don't play,
right?
Aren't you better off getting rid of them right away? They don't sound very committed to the program.
Right. And I'm not saying that we have anybody in particular that I'm saying that to, but I'm saying the positives of putting that out. Our players know the depth chart. Brad could get up here and tell you who he thinks the starting 11 is, and I think he probably could get them right because you're at practice, you're watching every play, you're in the meetings, you hear, you see. So really, as long as these guys know where they are, that's good. I just don't need to go publicize, because the reality is, too, and again, it's not anything specific that I felt here. I'm just talking big picture college football. You go put out a depth chart, well, maybe their high school coach or their 7-on-7 coach or their Little League coach says, how is he third team? I hadn't talked to him in a year. How is he third team boundary receiver? Man, I need to call his dad. Is he really third team? Hey, my buddy's coaching over here. He said they're looking for a wideout if you want to go. So you open yourself up to so many other people to critique your situation, where it's, as long as your guys in the building know where they stand, and I'll meet with every player on our team after spring ball to let them know kind of where they stand with us. So I don't want to come across that I'm trying to trick our guys or hide something from the guys. I'm just saying I don't think that it's an advantage for your program, and even for your kids. Sometimes, their buddies back home, yes, they know that third team running back knows why he's third team. Well, it doesn't help him for his buddies back home to see it in April that he's third team, so they're going to ask him that, So kind of just, as long as we know in-house what's going on, I think that's good.
You want to have, particularly in offense, your first unit ready to go in the fall practice so that you could give them the most reps and give them, is that what your goal is?
Yeah.
Whether you name it or not?
I mean, I don't see that any different than like our first unit right now. Even though there's a lot of competition, I don't think, I mean, again, y'all can look at it. It's kind of speaking out of both sides of my mouth, I guess. We got a lot of returning guys coming back, but we're not really naming a depth chart and all that. I mean,
But you will, in your
Yeah,
mind, at
yeah.
least have.
I'll know what it's supposed to look like because we'll have gone through spring, gone through the summer, and fall.
Maximum reps before.
Yes, there is, yes. I don't want to discount, because what you're saying, there's some validity to the point of letting those guys work together and mesh, and they are. It's really just going to be a couple guys here or there that you kind of balance it all out. But it's a good situation. I think one of the stats that we had at Clemson that I thought was awesome is, I think last year they had it, they averaged the most players that played in a game averaged throughout the whole season. It was something like 92 guys or something. You know, that's where you want to get to, is where you're playing a lot of guys. I mean, think about our games last year, right? We were close, very close. What happened in the fourth quarter? Right? It wasn't, a lot of it wasn't just like the guys got mad and I'm just not going to work any hard. I mean, them guys are having to play every snap, you know, and so if we can have some depth to come in and play behind them, you know, then you're able to finish those games. You're able to finish those seasons, you know, so it's all a good thing. But, I mean, these guys who spend 20 hours a week over here with us, they know right where they are. And I tell the guys all the time, you guys set the depth chart. This isn't like I go in some room with the coaches and like, oh, let's figure it out and let's go let you know. And it's a big, like, pulling out names out of a hat. They know. It works itself out. And that's the fun part of going through spring ball and fall camp is you spend so much time watching the video and critiquing everything, grading everything. It always works itself out. But it's good that we're having a chance to talk about it because outside of the quarterback position, I don't know that there's been a lot of positions where there's even been a conversation. Where now we got a lot of positions where there is going to be good to see these guys compete, you know, from now until September.
Coach, to piggyback on what you just said, there were times last year at the end of the season, you're playing with really 14, 15, 16 defensive players. After that, it really drops off. How important is it to get depth in the spring, especially on defense?
I mean, I think some of the most excited guys, with all the new players that we brought, I know we brought 21 new guys in, and over 10 of those guys were on defense. Some of the most excited guys about that were some of the defensive starters, that they got some help, and that they're not having to do it all on their own. And obviously COVID had a big part of 2020 season, not having bodies, but defense, especially in 2020. I remember because offense and defense whenever we have flex, they're on opposite sides facing each other. So I kind of would get where I can count. And I can remember in 2020, there were times where in the entire defense, there was like 34 guys practicing. And I think the first day I counted it up and there was 67 guys. And that's what I told Boyles. I said, look around here. This is so different than it was 2 years ago. I mean, I said, man, we look like we got a lot of people out here. I mean, this is really refreshing. And those guys are appreciative of that because it does. I mean, you look at any good team, winning teams, right? They have depth. It's not just, you know, a couple frontline guys. And so, but what I'm excited about, this isn't a situation where you're bringing a bunch of new guys in and all these seniors are kind of moving to the back of the line. You know, I shared this in the first press conference. You go over those grit score rankings from winter workouts. 6 of the top 8 were super seniors, and I think all 12 of the super seniors were in the top 25. And the best teams that I've been a part of is the seniors are your hardest workers and are guys. I think every one of our super seniors, if you go look at every one of the 12 super seniors, every one of them are players. They may all be starters. And that's a good sign. That has not been the case, you know, the first 2 years.
Jeff, last week you cited a couple of freshmen who did very well in winter workouts. And granted, it's only been a couple days on the field, but can you talk about anybody like
Stepping up. You know, you hate doing this sometimes as a coach because there's so many guys doing that. But, you know, just off the top of my head, seeing guys, you know, some new guys making plays. DJ Gordon has done a good job at linebacker the first 2 days and made some nice plays. You know, he's not a new player, but Tamarcus Simpson, who's a walk-on safety, he's had a really good first 2 days of spring. I know Coach Shoup really likes him. Joe is different out there with his size and athleticism. He's long. He's made some really nice plays. Mikey Dukes at running back, Mike Lofton and Darrell Bailey, two offensive guys that transferred in here that I think they're both right now. Again, don't get carried away with this because we got 2 or 3 guys out right now, but both Darrell Bailey and Lofton are going with the first group offensive line because Brad's not able to go in the 11-on-11 stuff and Dustin Hall's not going 11-on-11. So we've kind of moved some of those pieces around, and they've done a really nice job. And then defensively, Jatorian Hansard, defensive end, he's different. He's what we've been looking for. Really pleased by what I've seen out of him for the first 2 days. Nick Baggs has been out with an injury. I'd be excited to kind of get him back as we go. Rashad Cheney inside has done a nice job. And then Ray Thornton at safety, new guy, has really made some plays, done a nice job. So it's been good. First couple of days, seeing some of those guys step up.
What are kind of the biggest, broad question, but the biggest impacts you've seen from the transfers already on the program?
Biggest impact. Well, here's what I would say. Before bringing them in here, like when we signed them in December, I probably would have framed the question that way. Where now, after watching it for 3 months, I would kind of flip it and say, the impact that I've seen is I've seen our returning guys really embrace them. Like, DJ Gordon had an interception on Tuesday in Pascal, and I turn around and Antonio Greer is running down there to celebrate with him and just have embraced him and coaching him. Like, that's not what you expect when you're bringing some talented guys that have played good ball at other places, and how is it going to compete? But I would say seeing our returning guys embrace and teach these guys, like that has had an impact because now that's allowed those guys to get ready. And then the other thing that I would say that I've been pleased with the impact, I mean, from a surface level, we got some size, some length, some experience, and again, first 2 years in a program where you kind of have the green light to go through your roster and make sure that it fits what you're looking for. If you go down and scroll, I mean, there's about 35 guys that aren't here, and a lot of them are juniors and seniors, and so that's why it's important to bring some of these older guys in so that you don't have a team of 60 freshmen, right, and it takes you 3 years to be able to compete. And but overall, I think they've added some good size. But and I've also appreciated how those guys have gotten in line. And obviously when they're recruited, hey, we got opportunity and all that, which we do. But those guys have jumped in line and started in the back of the line and slowly working their way up and have balled in. But I've been really pleased by just that. Without going through that again, I came from a place where we didn't really bring transfers in. In my mind, I thought this spring would be a little rough, kind of figuring all that out, and kind of like 2 blended families that kind of got to go through a little time there. But it's happened quicker. I think the winter workouts, and I think it's a testament to our older players and, how they've kind of welcomed those guys in. And those new guys kind of feel that, respect that. And, we talk about win, right? And we're talking about we got to work, we got to have great intensity, and then we got to stay united, right there. And so I'm seeing that already with both the returning guys and the new guys, and that's a really exciting.
Coach, if you had to go to battle and you look to your right, would you like to see Antonio Greer right next to you?
Oh man, well, yes, he's one of those guys. I think if you take your roster and you're like, all right, who are the guys that you can win with, that you're going to get in the nitty-gritty? Who are those guys? I think there's a lot more guys on that list than at any point that's been here. And, man, again, it's life, right? This isn't like we're going through something that nobody else has gone through. It's 2 difficult years as we're building and trying to get everything, set up for the future. But, it really is just watching these guys that have gone through so much, persevered. And the other thing, added element, normally they're seniors, and of course they're going to come back, but these 12 guys are all super seniors. Like if you looked at the average across the country, I haven't seen a stat, my guess would be 50% at least of super seniors just would decide, hey, I'm moving on and going on with life. And to have this group come back in spite of everything that, the trials and stuff they've been through, some of it before I got here, and then I know what it's been like for 2 years, but to watch that group push through, and obviously we're still a long way away, but there are a lot of good signs by what I see, and I'm just proud because as a coach, when you're coming in, you got to kind of lay out, your staff has to kind of communicate that, lay it out there and talk about it a lot. But at some point, it kind of takes root, and then they start, really sending the message in and controlling the locker room and taking ownership. And I guess that's probably what I would say about this spring. I see that kind of coming out of the ground really for the first time, and that's what gets me excited.
One of the guys that you didn't mention on that injury list that was refreshing was Chris Townsel.
Yeah.
The guy at the end of last year that kind of disappeared and reappeared.
Yeah.
And, he had a really nice play in the one-on-ones the other day. I think jumped the route on.
Was that you looking through the fence over there? Oh, okay, all right, gotta watch. You had the hard hat. You were in you were in the indoor with the hard hat up there in the crane watching over right there. All right, no, he did. He had a nice pick, and that's what I'd say. I'd say at the end of the year, and Chris, we got a lot of guys, and again, I kind of talk about returning guys and a lot of super seniors, talk about the new guys. There's that group in the middle too, right? And the good thing is this is a new start for a lot of those guys because there's 2 new coordinators, right? And, what I want to do when Coach Shoup came in, obviously he's met with the defense and defensive staff, but, I didn't want to give him any, I wanted him to kind of be able to develop, and those guys have an opportunity to kind of develop into them. But Chris is a guy, he got banged up at the end of the year and kind of broke his wrist and missed some time, but he's had a really good first 2 days as well and really bought in, working hard, and has made some nice plays. All right.
Jeff, sorry, I
Yeah,
just
good.
get to real
Yep.
fast. You tweeted this morning about raising coaches, high school coaches' salaries. So 2 questions on that. First of all, why is that an important topic for you?
Yeah, and, there was a group of high school coaches that got together, and they had a clinic this past weekend, and really it wasn't, I don't think they're holding out or anything like that. I think they're just kind of bringing awareness that maybe in the state of Florida, our coaches' supplements are very, very low. And first of all, I know the impact that high school coaches have on communities and on young men and the development. I think every one of our players, many of them would say, hey, I wouldn't be here without my high school coach. And, we want Florida, when you live down here, like this is your home, man, we want this to be, the best state, right? And we have outstanding talent in this state. Everybody knows that. And, but unfortunately, what's happened over the years, because Georgia is able to pay their coaches tremendously more and above what we're able to pay our coaches in Florida, you see the, coaches move up. And the one that really got me the other day was Coach Coe, the head coach at Madison County, where Kevin Kegler went to school. Coach Coe is like one of the best coaches I've ever been around. I've known him for a long time. He's like an ambassador for high school coaches in the state of Florida, putting on clinics and just really giving a lot of his time. And last week he took a job in Georgia, just because right here close to retirement, it made sense. And so, I just think, whenever I heard kind of what some of the supplements, the average supplement for the head coach is $3,600. Whenever I was at Blythewood High School, I was 24 years old as a head coach in South Carolina, first-year head coach, and my supplement was $12,000 to be the head coach. And you got coaches down here that have been, working for a long time, and they're making $3,000 supplement. I think it's good just to make a little awareness. I think teachers ought to be able to, be paid more. And, I had a player in my office last week who, unfortunately, just lost one of his cousins back home who was shot and killed. And, listening to the player in my office, he's like, the fact that I'm able to be here and going to school and playing ball, it's keeping me from being at home and being in the streets. And the teachers and coaches, man, they have an opportunity really to, I think between 14 and 18 years old is one of the most critical periods in all of our lives and our development. The decisions that you make, the friends that you have, the habits you form have an impact on the next 40 and 50 years of your life. And coaches are not the only ones. There's teachers and so many other people, but man, they're an important piece of that. And I would love to see those guys be able to, us to be competitive so we don't lose all our best coaches up there to Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama.
Yeah, and then my follow-up on that, having some of the best coaches in the state go up there, do you think that affects your program? Because obviously
Yeah.
you guys recruit, this is your bread and butter.
Yeah, I mean, you want it's kind of like the high schools in our state and our area, they're the kind of the minor leagues for us, right? And so you want those guys developed and coached the right way. And again, we've got great coaches in this state and in this area, but you know, you just hate to see those guys have to leave, and you don't blame them. I mean, it's unfortunate, but you'd love for those guys to be able to stay right here and develop these guys and have them, you know, come over to our programs. And so again, I think it's a positive initiative. I think it's just kind of trying to bring awareness to it, and I don't have the answer. I know everybody's looking for money and different things, but if we just make a little bit of awareness to it and be able to find a way to help them, I think that'd be a positive thing. All right. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
A couple more super seniors, term captain Brad Cecil. Very good.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, Brad.
Questions for Brad?
A lot of new faces out there. You work on depth. What have you seen through winter workouts and so far 2 practices?
You know, like Coach Scott said, there's a lot of new faces, but they've really bought into the culture, and I think that's been the coolest thing to see. Like a lot of the, you know, me and a lot of the other older guys, super seniors, and a lot of just even like the guys in the middle and the younger guys, you know, they've really brought in the new players, the transfers, the freshmen, and kind of took them under their wing and said, this is how we do things around here. This is how we conduct ourselves. This is how we practice. This is how we train. And so it's been really cool to see that, and I think it's transferred from winter conditioning and winter workouts in our first 2 days of spring ball, because these past 2 days of spring ball have been fast. And if you know me, you know I've been through a lot of first days. But I mean, it's been really cool to see. You know, everybody's flying around, good intensity, and it's been really good. Great first 2 days.
What do you kind of attribute that chemistry to? Because it'd be really easy, just on transfers, I guess more specifically, but for guys to be like, you're trying to take my job and I've been here or whatever.
Mhm.
So what do you attribute the fact that it hasn't gone that way?
Well, the past 2 years, we've been through a lot, and I think that it's brought us together closer, and it's created a family atmosphere. And I'm not just saying that because I'm up here. Like, everyone on this team is truly my brother, and I think that's what I can attribute it to. Guys don't come in and it's not like everyone's in competition, obviously, but it's not like, oh, I'm in competition with him, he's trying to take my job, like he's out to get me. No, it's not like that. Everyone's out there competing, trying to make each other better. And I think that was part of the thing when these new players came in, was them adapting to that culture. Because I don't know what the culture was like where they came from, but here we compete to better each other, not to beat someone out and make someone not play.
There was a good chance an NFL team would have taken a chance and brought you into camp this year. You decided to stay here. Why?
Kind of goes back to what I just said. Like, we've been through a lot, and you know, I love this team. I love everybody on it. I love the coaches. I love training staff, equipment staff, video staff, our media team. I love everybody in this building, and I truly mean that. And so, you know, I didn't want to leave that behind. You're right. A team probably would have taken a chance on me, but you know, we have unfinished business here. You know, I came here in 2018, made a bowl game my freshman year, didn't win, and haven't been back. And you know, I've been on a mission since then to, you know, get back, win a bowl game, and bring a conference championship to USF. Because, you know, that's something we're all striving for. That's our team goal, win a conference championship. And, you know, that's something we look at every day, and, you know, we work for that. And so, you know, that's a big reason I came back, just to be with the guys one last time, and came here to do what I came here to do.
Is the vision for the super seniors, like you said, you got one more go around, these things can happen for you? You can get out of here with a bowl game, you can get out of here with a winning season? I mean,
Of course,
that's
yeah.
the vision.
Of course, that's the vision. You know, I think with the talent that we have and the work ethic and the camaraderie, the culture, we definitely have a good shot to, you know, be one of the best teams in USF history. And I'm not saying that just to say that. I truly mean that. I've been here 5 years now, and I think that this team is really special. And I think that we can achieve every single goal on our goal sheet if we just stick to the course and trust the process.
How's the shoulder?
It's doing great. It's moving along well.
Brad, your impressions of Coach Trickett and what he wants to do with the offense?
Coach Trickett's intense. I love him. He's awesome. I don't know if you guys have met Coach Mo. Coach Mo is intense. And, you know, they're like two peas in a pod. They're like Kobe and Shaq. Like, when we go out there, they're hyping each other up. They're yelling at each other. And I'm like, dude, Mo is already a lot. Now he got 2 of them. So, I mean, it's really awesome to see him out there, though, like really just come in and be himself and just, you know, kind of just take over and just, like, show that he's there to coach us hard, but to love us hard at the same time. And I think that he's done a good job of, you know, doing just that, like just really like pushing us to be our best, but also showing that he's not doing it to be a jerk. He's doing it because he loves us. He wants us to be the best version of ourselves. And so he's been, nothing short of amazing since he's been here.
You know, you said you're on a mission. Are the Hogs still going to Mission Bell?
I hope so. We'll be talking to our guy there when it comes closer to season. But yeah, we very thankful for them. They fed us well.
Is that a camaraderie thing too, that you get the chance to sit down with them off the field?
100%, yeah. Like, big boys like to eat, and they like to eat barbecues. So when we get that chance to, sit down and break bread and really just, laugh and talk about things other than football, because like Coach Scott said, we're in 20-hour weeks now to where we're here, Monday through Sunday, where it'd be 3 to 4 hours a day. So, we don't get that, we don't get a lot of time outside of football to just not talk about football. And so when we do get that chance, it's always a lot of fun. We're usually pretty loud and it gets, we're jokesters. Everyone's got their own personality. So it's definitely a good time, and it's definitely something that every position group needs and every team needs. And it's really important. It's really important for building that culture that you want, a sense of family, a sense of community, and having everyone close together.
You've gotten a chance to see Darryl Bailey and Mike Lofton take some time with the ones. Just kind of what's your first impressions of those two with how they look?
They're both really impressive. I think that they both bring a different skill set, but I think that they're both doing a really good job out there. They've ever since they've been here, they got here in January, and I saw them in the meeting rooms watching film every day, and they're asking me, they're like, Brad, can you watch film with me? Can you walk me through the plays? Can we go out to the field and get field work? And they constantly wanted to get better, and it was an everyday thing. It wasn't just because they were trying to show off the coaches. Like, they truly came here to get better and to make the team better. And I think that that's really shown in these first 2 days of spring. They've been getting reps in the first group, and they've been going against what's now the first team D-line. And they've really impressed me and the coaches and our teammates. They've done a really good job. Mike came from UCF, and he's a mauler. He's a guy. He's a smart guy. And then you got Darrell Bailey, who came from VTech, and he's super athletic. He's big and long. So like I said, they bring different things to the table, but they're both super impressive in their own way.
You guys brought in 3-4 transfer offensive linemen, not necessarily to compete with what's on the field already, but once you guys leave, just leave Dustin there as the returning starter heading into 23. How important is this year for them to develop and be ready to take y'all's place down the line?
Extremely important, and that's one thing that Coach Mo made sure that we did, because we knew, Coach Mo told us, he said that he wanted to bring in some transfers in it. Like when he told us that, we weren't scared. It's an opportunity to make the team better. And kind of like you said, it's an opportunity to mentor them, to teach them, so that there's not, we're not looking around for O-linemen, when some of the super seniors leave and like the seniors leave. And so we've got a lot of good young guys from the transfers and to the guys that were already in the room, guys that can play in the future and really, there not be a drop-off once, me and the other guys leave. They've been learning and they work just as hard as we do, and, they're just as good. And so they push each other every day, and it'll be a good group.
Brad, I'm sure you're excited to see the progress of the indoor facility after having to dodge so many thunderstorms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your thoughts on how that's coming along?
Well, first off, it's crazy how quick it's going up. We were out there, I think 3 weeks ago, we started mat drills, and the first day of mat drills was when they put the first beam up, and Coach Scott was like, oh, look over there, we're going to be out there soon. And then, the next week they're starting to put the roof on, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, this thing's going to be done before spring ball. So, it's moving along really quick, but it's super exciting. We're out there, and we're calling plays, and you just hear the crane just cranking up, and you see guys like drilling on the top on the roof, and it's really cool to see that. See something that when I came in as a freshman, that was the vision, and now to see it being put into action, put into place, it's something really cool, and it's special because I know that I'll get to use it, but guys that are coming in like freshmen right now and freshmen that are going to come in are going to get it for their whole college experience, and that's super important for our school and our university in recruiting and just for football itself. But it's definitely exciting. Thank you, guys.
Miami's finest Dwayne Boyles, your captain.
guys, from that area, Logan, Trey, and,
Gabe.
Gabe. When Travis Trickett gets announced as the OC and just kind of his prowess as a recruiter down there, just, how excited were you to be able to see that you guys might get back into that area a little bit more?
It's exciting, but we're all about just bringing in talent, no matter where they come from. But of course, I like to see people from the hometown to come up here. But it's funny that you say that, because when Trickett came in, he was like, "Oh, I recruited you back at Georgia State." I didn't really remember him, but it was cool to see that he came in.
Dwayne, Coach Shoop, he's been here a little more than 2 months now. Your impressions of him and how everybody's getting along defensively under the new coordinator?
One thing about Coach Shoop, he's very aggressive, very aggressive. He likes to say he's a in-your-face attacking defense, and we all love that. All the guys love it. We've been waiting for something like that to come through here. The guys have been brought in. We're brought into the system. I'll say for the first 2 days of spring, even though it's a new defense, guys are learning the playbook, and guys are hungry and want to play and want to contribute to the team.
With an attacking mentality and then what you guys put on the field at UCF, does that give you a lot of confidence of what you got and what you could do?
Oh yeah, for sure. We've been hungry to blitz. We're hungry to attack people instead of just waiting on them to attack us. Because we're on defense, we have to attack. We don't supposed to just wait for them and game plan for them, but they got a game plan for us, because we're the aggressors.
Chris said that Andrew is a little different. Not sure what he meant by that. I'm sure it's good. What do you see from that?
Big, tough, fast, athlete, a true athlete. He could squat the house. He could bench the house. He's super strong. He's a freak of nature. I'll say that.
And I'm sorry, I'm from Plant City, so I got to ask about DJ.
Oh, he's a true dog. He's a true dog. He can't wait to put pads on. He hates it to have to lay back just because we have on these spiders and just helmets. But when the pads get on, we're going to see his true nature. And I'm excited for him. He's a big part of our defense. He's going to be a big part of our defense. And I'm proud to say that he's part of this linebacker corps.
A new guy that I was really intrigued in when y'all brought him in was Jaylen Schumer.
Yeah.
He looks like he's going to be a guy right off the bat. What have you seen out of him these first 2 days?
Quick, fast, strong. He looks like a good pass rusher, who I can see. He reminds me of myself when I first came in. He's long, he can run. Like I said, good pass rusher. And, yeah, we're going to see big things from him.
Is it nice this year you're not gonna have to be playing 60, 70, 80 snaps? That there may be the cavalry coming in to give you a little bit of a blow?
See, I can say 2 things about that. I like being on the field. I love being on the field. That's where you get paid at. But it is also nice to have somebody who could come in and replace you if you're tired or if you go down with an injury. And it's good to have depth, no matter what sport you play. It's always good to have depth.
So the last few years, you haven't had the rewards that I'm sure you wanted, like bowl games, winning seasons, and for the older guys, the ones that have been through the tough times, is your vision that, hey, this is it, we're going for it this year, that we can get that before we leave here and have the good things? Yeah,
we definitely talking about winning the championship. That's what we want. That's what we speak. We're speaking this into existence. This is what we want. This is what we need. And it's something that we pride ourselves on. We know we haven't been that good. We know we haven't pleased the fans and doing this and that, but we're working towards that direction.
Dwayne, I'll ask you do the same thing I asked Brad. Why do you have things click with all the new guys that are brought in? Because it doesn't always work out.
I'll say from a leadership standpoint, we've just brought those guys along. We taught them the ropes, and now they're here. They're just like a family. It's just like they've been here for 4 years, 3 years. So it was a good thing with the leadership, to bring them in and get them acclimated into how we run things and how we do things.
You get to play BYU at home this year, not dealing with the altitude. How important is that?
I mean, one thing Coach Scott always prides about is no matter what weather, no matter what's going on, nothing should affect the way you play. And I want to say the altitude played a big part when we went up there, but it's good to have them back down here so we get our revenge.
Root for the humidity this year, right?
Yes, sir.
Make them sweat.
Thanks, Dwayne.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all, appreciate it.